Hello everyone, this is Splendor Gappy. Welcome to another demo video. This time I'm going to have a little fun with random animation. I haven't really created um, a lot of videos for this operator, so today I'm going to show you what it does. So it's really simple. It creates animation for the selected objects in using rotation, move, or scale, and you can animate them in the X, Y, and Z axis. You can choose uh, the mode. So repetitive means that it will repeat on certain frames. Continuous means that, for example, an object rotates 30 degrees. For repetitive, once it reaches 30 degrees, it will go back to zero. For continuous, it will just continue rotating the object. So, and mirrored, when once it reaches 30 degrees, it will reverse direction and rotate back to 0 degrees. You can stack this effect by clicking toggling off clear animation. Okay. First, I'm going to detail my base mesh using plate insets, and going to add plates. So let's go back to the default. So 50 plates and depth, reduce the depth, and also probably 300 plates. Okay, use clear or fill clear and increase the island size and the tolerance value. Let's set to 1. The thickness, going to adjust the thickness to open up to set the face islands more clearly. You can also use margin for every plate, or just the plates that are indented, so indent only. So let's just use 0 margin for now. And where's the depth? The depth, let's also reduce that, and then play around with let's use 500, and subdivision increase to 1. You can reduce the reversal. So reverse means that the plates, instead of being extruded out, now the reverse that and becomes indentations. So if I don't do any reverse properties, you can see that the plates are just extruded up from the mesh, and full reverse, and all the plates are being extruded into the mesh. So let's reduce that to something like 20%, and reduce the island size max to 5, minimum to 2. Let's see if we can increase the subdivision. So there's already banding when it comes to subdivision level 2. So to avoid the banding, you have to increase you can start with a lot of resolution beforehand, instead of just subdividing to avoid the banding. So you have to prepare the increased resolution or use a base mesh with the same resolution as the subdivision number two in order to uh, avoid the banding and subdividing like that. Okay, so in this case, just subdivision level one. This is going to be our tower, which the we will rotate later on. How about fill? Just clear. Okay, put in some random depth. Okay, just making sure that the faces are the areas of the faces are even or mostly even. This is subdivision. We can use texture to serve as the tertiary for tertiary detail. Use the thickness here. There you go. And let's do the other. I think we can increase this to 1,000 plates. Just to maximize the amount of plates that can possibly be generated. Okay. And let's add some more. Oh, this one here. And let's add some more details here. So we can't really subdivide this using the script because they're in gone. So I'm just going to use quad slice. This is also in random flow. Go and use this. Probably going to use random panels. Let's see if this works. Panels and radial number and increase the random height. Increase the resolution. So if this doesn't work out, you can always use random cells. This is to generate pointed geometries and panel size is 50, 200. Okay, let's try random cells. With the octet, make sure we have individual and randomize the offset or the depth. So we have those pointed things. Probably reduce its number. 5%. Same here. We needed to rotate with the primary body, so we're going to join it, and then size is 1. Mhm. Yeah, let's subdivide this. Pick one edge and select direction and WS, and WS for subdivide, and then F9, increase the number of cuts to something like 8, and then we're going to use random panels, use split, and decrease the maximum height, and also the, where's the thickness? The thickness, let's increase the resolution, see if we generate some faces, and let's use walk. No, it's too, we need to do this one by one, I think. Radial, so I'm not seeing um any pattern because probably the geometry is too small. So in order to create chaotic shapes for this, I'm just going to use random cells again, or random scatter. Use these to reduce the size of the blocks, and also randomize their scale here and increase their number. Let's try 2. Oh no, not that. 1, 2. There we go. Just to avoid the square look. And random cells again. Decrease the depth and increase the resolution to make the faces smaller. It's already too, yeah, we should have made sure that the faces are square. So instead of using, we can't create that uh, long square stick using random cells. So we're going to use scatter again, and this time, uh, what's uniform size? No, no, not uniform size. Axis, and then set this to 1 and 1 and One, increase the z-axis, the length to something like 20. There we go. And randomize the, let's set the points to 50 or 100 and randomize its position. There we go. And do the same thing for the bottom one. This time we're going to create the subdivide first. We're going to create the pointy things first and increase the resolution. I forgot the resolution that I used on the top part, so and then set this to 1 again and increase the size of the objects and randomize their sizes. Set this to value that we use in the top part, 500. Okay, let's use the setting for the top part because it's looking special. The box are looking pretty big. Selecting this geometry and using that settings here. This 500. Let's try 300. 200. Just to match their distribution. There we go. And we're going to join it on the main body. So, but instead of just using Control J to join it, I'm going to use the operator in random flow, which is the join objects, and join it to the selected object cylinder. Okay. The advantage of this is you can select it by a vertex group, the objects by a vertex group, and you can split mesh using the same method. So these objects will be separated as will be broken apart and retain their structure. Okay, so I think we can already animate this. Shift G and then T to select all the types, which is the mesh, and then so if you're using the random operators, the random animation operator, I mean, um, once you animate it using, it will start to animate once you press the axis, once you select an axis. You can select multiple using Shift or delete one using Shift again. But if you just click, it will select just a single axis. So if you want to animate this, press space to animate and then You can choose here. So rotation, let's do continuous. And for the frames here, you can adjust the end of the frame or end of the animation. And then for the rotation, you can adjust the minimum and the maximum. So value number one means that there's no randomization. Frame seed number one and animation seed number one, there's no what's this animation seed? Yeah, this refers to the rotation as well. Yes, yeah. So at seed number one, there's no randomization. It will use the exact values here, and animation seed. Yeah, uh, there's no there's no randomization. It will use the minimum and maximum as it is. But if you use higher values, it will start randomizing. Okay. Let's see, Y. There we go. Y axis, X axis. Okay. So this is the Z axis. So oh, this looks cool. If you like everything else and you don't like some of the objects, or probably one of the objects is animating too fast, but you like the other parts, you can just uh, select that object afterwards and animate, and then randomize the animation for that particular object. Okay. So you can stack this up using, okay, let's select everything. You can also stack this up by clearing the clear animation. Let's use move, and remember it won't start animating unless you select an axis. So axis, let's try, is it continuous, repetitive? Let's try mirrored, and we have the frames and also uh, we have the coordinates here. So -5 in the z-axis direction, and also maximum is the +5 units in the positive z-axis. Okay, so let's use negative number one and one here, and let's see what we got. What we get. Okay, so the other one here, I think it's not probably. What is this frame seed? There we go. The speed. Look at that. Oh, we didn't forget to wait. Detail this. Wait. Fade in sets. Subdivision one. Okay. So we think. Yep. There's another one. Did you just hide from me when I was detailing everyone else? Okay. Yeah. So we managed to stack up. Oops. To stack up. Oops. Rotate and move. Let's try scale. So it can stack up one rotate, one move, and one scale. Okay. It cannot stack up two moves, which means that uh, okay, let's try this. I think it can. I think it can do that. But I forgot. I was thinking that maybe. Yeah, let's try it. So move it in the y axis. Is it moving in the z axis? Yes, it is. So yeah, it also stacks up that way. Control Z. Yeah, you can stack it up using multiple rotates, multiple moves, and multiple scales. So let's try scale. It's gonna be weird because if you have just plain objects, scaling would be good, but in this case we have detail, so yeah. Is it in the y-axis? Yeah, in the you can choose all the so it the size goes from small to large at an even rate. Okay, so let's not use scaling. Let's just use this one. And okay, let's go back to frame number one. Frame number one. There we go. That is actually frame number one. Okay, I'm going to select this body here, Shift G and vertex group, and I'm going to create another uh, scatter object, and then I'm going to explode it. Explode. Okay, but let's not make it too many. Let's just use 100. I'm going to animate this as well as dating objects. Okay, scale. Let's play with the scale and also the rotation and the size. I think we're using 0 for never use 0 because the object can have 0 dimensions but still exist, know what I mean? Exist as faces. And then it's you're not gonna see it, but it's still there. So don't use 0 dimensions. Something like 0.001, 0.00001 or something. But never well, I guess you can use it if you want. There's really no danger on using that, except that of course you can see it. Okay, so 200. 200 is good. Let's see the explosion. There we go. And for this one, this is gonna be I'm going to, in order to animate this one by one, okay, let's just save. And we're not going to change, I'm not going to change its, okay, probably. Okay, let's do this. Separate this as their own objects, as separate objects. Okay, no, not that. Separate P, loose parts. There we go. Now every one of them is a single object. And then Control G to group it so we can easily select it in the outliner. So I don't know what's this um what's the good name for this cluster? Updating objects. Root root OBJs. Okay, let's see the outliner. Yeah, so it's different. Okay, it's different. It didn't. Let's create an out. But you can choose it here, collections, but it didn't assign it as a collection. Anyways, um, set the 3D cursor here in this main body here. Cursor to selected. Select this object, Shift G, collection. I'm going to try this. Okay, see if this is good. Random animation in the Z axis. Oh, not the scale, the rotate. The other ones are rotating pretty wild. So let's use a higher number of frames to slow them down. There we go. And where are they rotating at? Are they rotating the 3D cursor? Origin. Oh, I didn't. Wait, wait. That was wrong. Okay, so before animating it, I'm going to set the origin to their geometries. Okay, so now each object have can rotate each object um their geometric center. Okay, so because creating in when using random scatter, the origin is inherited from the source object. So let's rotate this randomly in the x, y, and z axis. Okay, not that. Shift G and wait. Shift G and collections. Then animate this in the z axis. Okay, let's use. Are they rotating? So I'm not gonna do the texturing today because in this video because I'm waiting for my glasses and I can't see any words really. My eye just gave up on me, so I can't really read any of this, and it just happened recently. Okay, so let's use 200 to make them faster, and probably use one. Okay, let's just randomize. So they're rotating individually, and let's rotate them in the y and the x axis. Okay, and let's rotate them continuously in that direction. Okay, now we're going to rotate them again, but use the 3D cursor as the pivot point. Okay, so in the z axis, cursor, and only in the z axis. What happened? Okay, 500. Did it work? Probably didn't work. So the stacking probably didn't work that way. The XYZ axis from the first rotation probably got mixed in, and it's not possible to. Are they even rotating? The 1000 frames, make them slower. Yeah, you can stack it that way. It's a good try though. The other objects are just really whizzing by. It was a good try. So we can probably use this or not. Wait. Ah, because their local axis is being used to rotate the object. That's why. Okay. So that's not possible. So I wanted to rotate it on the only in the z axis. So but rotating it on their z axis. There we go. That's the effect I'm looking for, but maybe if we try this first and then try the individual, let's try 500. and try the individual rotation. Maybe it will look right. Let's try it. So rotate on the z-axis using the 3D cursor first. Then now rotate it. Not don't clear the animation. Rotate it in the z-axis using the origin z-axis. Did it do it? X, Y, and Z. Oh no, it's still the same. Okay, this is good. Yeah, we have the. Can also just. Oh wait, rotate? Yeah, there we go. Rotate it, and then the cursor. Okay, and then add empty and change its position right here. You can also rotate it that way. So we have this would be really good for an animated concept art. Yeah, I should build a shader for Eve so we can preview this. We can animate this rendered in the viewport using Eve because using cycles we can't really uh, animate it. When my 4090 arrives, maybe we can try previewing it in the screen in the viewport, previewing the animation using the viewport with a higher card. Probably it will probably work with that. Okay, let's just put in some really basic texture. Okay, Shift G, random vertex color, black and white, and objects, islands, and let's hide these objects. Oops. Shift G, collection, and selecting these. Do they have markings for the no? They didn't set the limit smooth, so we can do this using. Let's mark the sharp edges using creative flow, get sharp, and mark sharp. So individually, get sharp, F9, mark sharp, same here, get sharp. So automatically just mark sharp the sharp edges. So we can use this to create vertex color. Shift G and T and run the vertex color. Use sharp. There we go. Alt H to show everything else. And let's assign Shift G and T. Let's uh assign material. Don't use vertex color. Okay. Go to shaders and let's try ambient occlusion. AO, 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 and then set this color ramp, adjust the intensity, and then I'm going to use just J's placement texture to uh, create some flavor on the surface. Shift Control T. I'm going to turn off the screencast, okay? Because this is lagging while I'm recording. Okay, open. I'm going to use one of the J's placement textures and set this to object because I'm not using any UV maps, and set this to box instead of flat. For UV, you're supposed to use flat projection, but for object, use box. Set another color amp here as control for the factor. Just really basic uh, setup. Okay, so yeah, can't really see the fine details, but I hope to use the grunge shaders, but yeah, I can't see anything. So that's for next time. Let's use this as bump. Go to vector and select the bump uh, node. It automatically attaches to normal, which is weird. You're supposed to put it in height. There we go, and set this to something like 0.4. Okay, and we have our tertiary detail. You can, of course, create your own image texture like this using random flow on a simple plane, and you can detail this using all the detailing operators, and then yeah, and then just bake it. So create a plane that you're going to detail, and then create another plane here where you will bake the textures from this geometry under, and then you can use it as your texture here. So I actually created one, and let me show you in image editor. I'm going to open. So this is AO of one of the images I did with random flow. I baked. Yeah, this is also one. So you can bake normal map, and also you can use textiles to actually bake the different maps. So you're not just limited with just AO and normals and all the stuff. You can also bake the other maps. Yeah. So you can use this. So I forgot where I placed the okay, let's try and use this and as bump and see what we get. Shader. So the displacement, yeah, displacement map. You can't bake a displacement map using cycles. So um material. Let's use the other texture. Test AO on this one. This I think this is set this to let. Yeah, this is the one. It's just too small. Okay, this one. And there we go. So it's a bit rough because I used a lower sample to bake it, but you can see that we have pipes and all that. You can also create, you can also use uh, panel screws to create screw details. Yeah. So if you want to get rid of the this rough texture, increase the sample so you get a really clean um, AO map. So using textiles, you can create textiles. You can create a much better map because much better suited map for bump because you can bake. Yeah, you can bake other maps like displacement using that add-on. Okay, let's go back to using the other texture console, this one here, and reduce the size. I'll probably reduce the strength as well, 0.2, and reduce the size, and then use the same material for separate the AO to the texture. Then we can use this for the color. Yeah. Okay. The AO is too much on the local or inside. Oops. There we go. Now let's view this. Let's try and use. Oh, I think it's connected to this. It's just HDRI. No, it's not. I think this only works for. Yeah, it only works for cycles, and we need to force the rotation. Okay, now let's rotate. Yeah, so you can have your. You can put this in animated concept art somewhere in the main background, and this is our rotating fortress, a rotating floating fortress. So that's it for the random animation. Um, let's try this one, and I think you will like it. Uh, in this case of the align to normal, that only works with if you have. So, for example, I have a particular place where the rotation should be aligned like that, so I can use a face to actually um, extract a normal from it. So mesh, where's the yeah, normal picker. Let's pick this normal, and then so for example this box here or cube. So animating this in the z-axis, not the cursor. The origin, that is to 100. Okay, now I've added in an empty, so it's scaled with the empty. So we need to apply the scale of this object. Okay, Z, and align to normal. So the one that's being aligned to normal is to the normal is actually the empty object, because this animated object here can't be aligned to a particular direction without disturbing the animation. So the only solution to that is parent it to an empty and then rotate the empty. So there we go. Now they're in the same direction. You can still reset this rotation F3, clear rotation, clear. Where's the clear rotation? There we go. Okay, so that's the purpose of DMT, the align to normal, and you can pick the normal using the normal picker. Material preview. Okay, so that's it for this video. If you have any questions, be sure to use the comment section or the link in the description of the video. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.